My husband returned from his work trip on a cold Thursday night. He stepped through the door, kissed my cheek, and tossed his suitcase aside with the usual exhaustion. He complained about airport traffic, his voice matching the pitch I had known for years. He wore his wedding ring, and his face was the same, but when he pulled me into a hug, my skin prickled. He felt like a mannequin draped in familiar clothes. He was performing my husband, moving with a calculated precision that felt entirely rehearsed. I wanted to believe it was just the travel, but the warmth I expected was replaced by a chilling, rigid stillness. I watched him from the kitchen as he moved throughout the house. He closed every cabinet door he touched, a habit he never possessed before. For years, I had nagged him about leaving them open, yet now they clicked shut in rhythmic, haunting silence. He began folding towels into sharp, uniform squares, his hands moving like a machine, programmed for perfection. At night, the silence was even worse. He stopped snoring. Every morning, I woke to find him staring at the ceiling, his eyes wide and unblinking, as if he were waiting for a signal to begin the day. I called my sister, whispering into the phone about the eerie changes. She laughed, telling me I was complaining about a husband who had finally become helpful. I forced a laugh, but my stomach turned. It was not the kindness that scared me. It was the precision. It was the way he moved like a puppet being controlled by invisible, steady strings. Then, the interrogation began. It started small, but soon it felt clinical, almost surgical. He asked about the scent of my childhood bedroom and the exact brand of shampoo I used at 17. He sat across from me, notepad in hand, documenting my life as if he were a student preparing for a final exam. He wanted to know the names of my primary school teachers and the specific flavor of ice cream I cried for when I was 5. I felt like a specimen under a microscope. One night, I woke at 3 a.m. to find him standing motionless in the hallway, facing the pitch-black living room. When I asked what he was doing, he did not flinch. He turned, his smile hovering a fraction of a second too late, and said, "Trying to remember if I have always lived here." That smile didn't reach his eyes. It was just a muscle contraction. I spent the next day scrolling through our digital photo albums, searching for a ghost. In every recent picture, his expression looked like a mask, his smile lagging behind his eyes by a terrifying heartbeat. The man in the photos was an imitation. Last week, the atmosphere reached a breaking point. He sat at the dinner table and looked at me with a gaze that felt ancient and hollow. He asked if I would still love him if he changed completely. I froze, my fork hovering over my plate, the air in the room turning to ice. I couldn't breathe. He shrugged, his movements fluid and artificial, like water flowing uphill. Then he leaned in, his face inches from mine, and whispered, "I think people notice differences faster than they notice replacements." The words hung in the air, a confession wrapped in a threat. He stood up, walked to the sink, and began washing dishes with that same terrifying, rhythmic efficiency. He didn't look back. He didn't need to. He knew that I knew. He was waiting for me to accept the new reality, to accept the thing that had taken my husband's place in our bed and in our life. The clinking of the plates sounded like a countdown. Every movement he made was a reminder that the man I loved was gone. And this thing was all that remained. I watched the back of his neck, looking for a seam, a zipper, a flaw. But there was only smooth, perfect skin. I stood in the doorway, staring at the back of his neck, wondering if I was losing my mind or if I was finally staring at a stranger wearing my husband's skin. The kitchen light flickered, casting long, distorted shadows. He turned slightly and hummed a tune my husband hated. He was settling in, and I was realizing that I might be the next one to be studied.